Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next, a perfect defensive offseason for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's talk. So to follow up the part one video, I guess if you want to call it that, where we talked about the offensive positions that the Baltimore Ravens could upgrade and address in free agency, we're going to do the same thing for the defensive side of the ball. On defense, we understand as a fan base and probably as an organization that we need some help upgrade at edge, help at safety, help at cornerback. And let me do safety first so that we can just get that out of the way. I think the easiest thing to do for the Baltimore Ravens to just kind of stabilize the safety position is just simply to tender Darius Washington, give him that second round tender. And if somebody wants to come and get him, fine. We get draft picks off of that, but I don't see anybody coming to get Washington to give up any draft picks. So I think tendering Washington in hopes that we could get a 2 or 3 year deal done, I think simply stabilizes that safety position. But let's get to some positions that have been in question for some time. And I guess you said a couple of positions that were vulnerable in 2024. Let's start with the cornerback position. We understand that Brandon Stephens is probably out. And I heard some conversations about being okay with bringing Brandon Stephens back after he tests the market and maybe he gets no buyers. But I'm of the mindset that Brandon Stephens is the type of player that we could re-sign late in free agency in May or even in June. And if he gets a deal done with somebody else, that's fine. I'm not a proponent of really bringing him back. So I think as we turn the page on Brandon Stephens, I think a good option, maybe a lateral move, a player that has a little more ball skill than Brandon Stephens. That's New Orleans Saints cornerback Paulson Adebo. Adebo is a guy that you're not going to hear a lot of buzz about.
Tannehill to the near sidelines. That's Pitts.
Cornerbacks.
Third Tannehill interception.
And six. Jones so far is 3 of the 8.
Stephon Gilmore, guys like that. And so I jumped into the research mode and I found him ranked number 10 on the free agency board for cornerbacks. And in case you don't know about this particular cornerback, he is 6'1" and about 197 pounds, so he has some size to him. And the reason why I picked him after looking at some of his tape is he absolutely has the ability to turn his head around and play the ball. And so he definitely has more ball skill than Brandon Stephens. I'm not going to say he's going to be a ball hawk and he's going to end up with 5 or 6 interceptions, but I do know that he does have good coverage skills. He has good speed and good length. And as you see in his highlights, he does get his hands on the ball, knocking it away, several pass breakups. I think that he would be a good fit for the Baltimore Ravens. He does struggle in the tackling game, but I think that with a better core around him, he could definitely improve. He was on the New Orleans Saints for the last 4 seasons and really wasn't with a winning culture down in New Orleans as it pertains to right now. I'm not saying that New Orleans doesn't have a winning culture. I'm just saying over the last few seasons, specifically since Drew Brees left, they have not been a winning team. And so I think picking up Paulson Adebo could be the opportunity for the Baltimore Ravens to get a young corner and get him prepared to either play opposite Nate Wiggins or at least be in the rotation with somebody we pick up in the draft. And so you guys let me know what you know about him, if you think he's a good pickup, and if you think he would fit what the Baltimore Ravens are trying to do defensively. Personally, I do think he would be an upgrade over Brandon Stephens, right? And I know it doesn't take much at this point to upgrade over Brandon Stephens. As we move to the next position of importance defensively, I think a perfect signing, a dream signing for the Baltimore Ravens may be to pick up edge rusher out of the New York Giants, Azeez Ojulari. He is an edge rush that we had been linked to last trade deadline, and whether those were real rumors, whether it was real news, a real link to him or not, typically where there is some smoke, there is some fire. And so this will be an opportunity to get him in free agency where we're not trying to pick up money that he's already owed. His market value is about $7.6 million. I think that's pretty good, pretty economical for a young edge rush. Now, he doesn't have a high rating as an edge rusher. He comes in at number 10 overall as the edge rush with a 54 overall rating. He's roughly mid-50s against the pass, or as a pass rusher, and mid-50s against the run. And I think that, again, with a winning culture in Baltimore, I think that he absolutely could improve and offer us something that we don't have, and that's that young pass rush who can just flat out get out there, the quarterback on his own. No tricks, no schemes, just snap the ball and he can get into the backfield, as you see from his tape. Ojulari is 6'3", 240 pounds, so he's what you would consider undersized, but I think that works for him only because typically when you have those undersized edge rushers, they typically play with a chip on their shoulder. He did play with a good front up in New York with Dexter Lawrence in the middle of the defense, and Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. So he has some good mentors, if you want to call them that. And so when Thibodeau went down, he did perform very well. Last year, he had 22 pressures and closed the season out with 7 sacks. And so if we could bring that over, I think he would slot in very well with Calvin Noy and Odafe Owe. And you probably could use him as a situational pass rusher to begin with, and just get him coached up, get him strong, and let him go to work. And so I think Azeez Ojulari would be a really nice addition to a pass rush that does need some new life. I think he would definitely slot in over David Ojabo, and maybe even make David Ojabo expendable, since he has not offered us nothing up until this point in his 3-year career. I think that he would definitely compete immediately with Adisa Isaac, who needs a season to kind of validate his 3rd-round draft pick. And so I think Ojulari, with that price tag, we could probably get him 3 years, $24 million. That would be like $8 million a year, which is what his market value is. And I think that he could come in and flourish in the Baltimore Ravens organization. So as we close out this video, we're going to move to the last player that we're going to talk about in the dream/perfect scenario for the Baltimore Ravens defense offseason. And we're going to take a stab at edge rush Haason Reddick. Now, before you boo and turn the video off, I want you to hear me out. I know that Haason Reddick has gotten a bad rap, especially with the holdout in Philadelphia, the holdout in New York, and really a down season. He is 30 years old. He'll be 31 before the season starts. But the reason why he's probably my overall favorite pickup as a edge rush option for the Baltimore Ravens is because he's proven. I know Josh Sweat has a lot of buzz because of his most recent Super Bowl performance. I know Khalil Mack probably is getting a lot of buzz because of just who he has been over the course of his career. And I also know that there are some bigger names that have the potential to be cut this offseason as cap casualties, specifically Joey Bosa. But I would take Haason Reddick over Bosa, over Mack, and also over Josh Sweat. Well, let me tell you why. Haason Reddick is a double-digit sack guy. His first 2 seasons, he was around 5, basically, in the sack department. But from that 3rd season, for an edge rush from the rookie season to that 3rd season, I think that's when they kind of find out who they are. And once he found out who he was and developed as a pass rusher, he was never not a double-digit sack guy. You know, posting 11 sacks multiple years. His greatest year was 16 sacks. I think that was his last season in Philadelphia, which I think is what led to the holdout, needing a new contract, that kind of thing. And of course, he didn't have double-digit sacks last year because he didn't have a training camp, he didn't have a preseason, and he didn't play, I think, for the first 6 or 7 games of last season. And so I think that he's a good pickup for us because his market value, his expected contract is 2 years, $21 million, so $10.5 million for a double-digit sack guy. When you pull his statistics, when you look at his tape, he's never injured. Based on his statistics, he's never missed a game when he has been healthy. You look at, you've seen 16 games played all the way through his career. And so that's what we need. Number 1 is a player who is healthy. Number 2, we need a player who can just get off the ball. He has quickness. He can beat his man all by himself. You don't have to scheme him up. He can just get into the backfield and wreak havoc. And also he can play against the run. And so whether you want him as a situational pass rusher or an every down pass rusher, he has the ability to do that. when you pull his numbers, which we will do. Matter of fact, let's just do it now. So when you look at his numbers, like I said, he's a double-digit sack guy. From his second season all the way through last season, he has been a double-digit sack guy, which is better numbers than Joey Bosa because of Joey Bosa's injuries, which is better numbers than Khalil Mack, and in truth, is also better numbers than Josh Sweat. If you were to pull Josh Sweat's numbers, his best season is 11 sacks. But if you look at the same season on the same team, Hassan Reddick has 16 more sacks. So that's why I say he is just a proven pass rusher, a guy we can get probably at a really good price. Again, $10 to $12 million is a good price for a guy who's proven as a pass rusher. He doesn't have a lot of wear and tear from last season, so he should be very fresh. And he's going to have something to prove. He lost a lot of money in the holdout. He lost a lot of money in this free agency market because he didn't have a chance to put on his best performance in the 2024 season. And so his last big deal was 3 years and $45 million, and he's definitely not going to earn that this season. And so that's why I think we can get him 1 year, $12 million, 2 years, $20 million, something like that, 3 years, $30 million. Excuse me. And so you guys let me know what you think about these guys, Paulson, Adebo, Azeez Ojulari, and also Hassan Reddick. And then also drop into the comment section who you guys will pick at corner, who you guys would like to have at edge rush. Again, like I said, I jumped down deep into the rankings and things like that in order to find some of the guys that I have found and brought to you guys. I'm your guy, Boulanger. This is the GM, and I'm out.